give you actionable strategies to help students excel in the CPEA exam. So today we'll be taking a deep dive, or should probably say tonight, we'll take a deep dive into Tambrin, which is an innovative platform really designed to enhance the learning experience and provide educators and parents with data-driven insights to really improve student outcomes. And that's what we all want. We want to ensure that our students, our kids, do the best they can. I can tell you I've sat in both chairs. I have, as a parent, I have 4 kids, so I know what that's like. And I've been a teacher for 12 years. So I know what it is to sit in that chair as well. So tonight we have 2 incredible persons who are going to present. We have Twyla Thompson. She's an experienced CPEA teacher for a long time. She's from St. Vincent, where I am from also. So I've known her for a very long time. She's a really, really, really good teacher. So she'll share some cool tips with us tonight. And then we have Seth Ahmad, Smart Terms sales lead, who will walk us through how Tambrin can transform student preparation, our student test prep. All right, so before we jump in, I want to encourage all of you to follow us and subscribe to our channels on social media, really to stay connected with us so that you can receive, you can stay informed and receive notifications about our upcoming webinars and other posts. So whether that is either Smart Term or Tambrin, I'll tell you a little bit later about what those handles are. But I want to encourage you. We're going to share our LinkedIn profiles on here as well. So if you're on LinkedIn and you want to connect with us after the webinar, please feel free to do so. Jamie is on the call as well. She's going to be interacting with you guys while the presenters focus on presenting. All right. With that said, let's get started. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you guys tonight to Twyla Thompson. She's our first speaker, and she's a dedicated and passionate educator with extensive experience in preparing students for the CPEA exams. She has spent years refining strategies and improving student comprehension, critical thinking, and exam performance. So she's well qualified, well experienced to deliver this presentation tonight. Twyla will be sharing her expert insights on how parents and teachers can collaborate to maximize student success in the CPEA. So please join me in welcoming Twyla. Twyla, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Iodel. It's certainly a pleasure to be on this evening. I am quite elated, and my hope and prayer is that the strategies and tools that I share this evening will be of great benefit to parents and teachers alike. All right. So again, thank you so very much for this opportunity. So what is CPEA? CPEA is the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment, and it is an assessment that's required by all pupils exiting the primary school system, with the focus on mathematics, language arts, social studies, and science. Just to give you a brief synopsis of what CPEA is. So we have the internal assessment, which is 40%, and the external, which is 60%. So parents, keep in mind that you have to really, really keep busy if you want to ensure that your child or ward does successfully in the exam. Let's take a look at some views from teachers and students. So before I started this research process, I had to ask some questions. One little girl said to me that CPEA is an important part of my primary journey. Another, Miss, I'm scared. A teacher said frankly, at times it can be really frustrating, especially all the marking. And believe me, I too can attest to this. I'm overwhelmed. I am managing. I'm nervous. All these are types of emotions that teachers, students, and even you two parents, you would experience. But I'm here to help. I'm not a superhero, but I've experienced this for a little while. So I've come up with some strategies that really that helped me as a teacher. So the role of the teacher. Now, as teachers, we wear many hats, but I'm going to focus on three primarily tonight. The teacher as an instructor. It's important for us to create an environment where students can actively engage with the material, ask questions, and practice new skills. It's okay, teachers, for us to show students samples. I remember I was working on a persuasive piece and we were brainstorming. Students were all excited. But then when I showed them samples of students who would have done exceptional work, those in the middle, and those who would have done mediocre, when I got the results from my students, I was so surprised. All because I took the time to show them samples of other students' work. It's also important for us to expose them to past papers, online quizzes, games, etc., things that would make them feel comfortable. And teachers, it's important as well for us to create an environment where they feel loved and appreciated. That's also important. We need to also engage in differentiated instruction. All of our students are not at the same level. And therefore, we need to ensure that we tailor work that can suit them. If you realize that you have a class of mixed ability students, some read at grade 5, some at grade 6, some at a grade 2 level, I'm going to advise you, especially for those of us who have to do book reports, give them activities that they can do at that level. That's what differentiating instruction is about. Also, it's good to have peer tutoring, giving them the opportunity to be able to collaborate with their peers. Sometimes as teachers, we may not get to them the way that other peers can. They could use language at their level. Things that we can, you dig, things like that, they'll talk, your overs. I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? Thirdly, we need to ensure that we assess the progress of our students. Let's take a look at the fact that we too are adults. Some of us are engaging in studies. When our teachers and lecturers take too long to mark, we keep checking, wondering, wait, when are they going to grade our work? They too feel the same way. Missy don't mark the book, Missy ain't done yet. So we need to ensure that we provide timely feedback. You give them a quiz, if as teachers you feel if you give them 5 quizzes, it's going to take too long for you to mark over the duration of time, give them one, mark it, let them see the progress, and then you could give them another. Let's take a look at the teacher as a coach. Teachers, I know that we have to do so many things, but as a coach, we need to remind students of their goals and expectations. It's okay to ask them at the end of this course, at the end of the duration of the teaching period, what do you hope to achieve? The thing is, with other classes, they have a full year. With grade 6, we have about 9 months. And it's okay for them to be constantly reminded, hey, you remember you said that at the end of this, you want to pass to go to X school, you want to do well. We need to be their cheerleaders. Offer advice and encouragement when students become overwhelmed. It happens. I remember a few weeks ago, I gave a student a writing piece to do over. And tears, oh Lord, he said, Mr. Tired, tears streaming down his face. And I had to remind him, I understand, I know, but we have to get this done. So there are times when students become overwhelmed. We cannot forget that. They too have emotions, and we need to tap into that. Remind them that it's okay. We'll get this done. Let's look at the teacher as a team player. Teachers, we're not islands. We're not islands by ourselves. In fact, no man is an island. We need each other. So therefore, it's imperative that we liaise or communicate with other teachers for best practices and possible resources. When CPEA started and composition, the writing piece was a requirement, I'm honest, I was frustrated. Somehow I was like, I can't, how is it I'm getting this right? I'm a great writer, you know. But then when it was time to teach, it's as though the children weren't forming the introduction properly. The paragraphs were too small. The paragraphs lacked substance. So I decided that I was going to speak to a seasoned teacher. And she said to me that scaffolding and demonstrating to students how introductions can be written is okay. She even said to me, you could use close procedures. So then I started to do that. And I realized that my students became excited to write. Those who couldn't give me 4 and 5 paragraphs and could give me 3, and they could give me a good paragraph or an account of what we would have brainstormed or a topic that they would have thoroughly enjoyed. That was good enough for me. That was good for me. And based on the assessments and the checklists that CPEA provides, I realized that they could have worked, but I had to reach them where they were. In fact, and I still reach them where they are at this time. So teachers, it's okay to communicate with other teachers. You could go down to grade 5, grade 6 teachers, find out how you're getting through with the expository. Any tips I could offer? Because when students are molded from the lower grades and they come up to grade 6, our work as grade 6 teachers, it becomes quote unquote a little lighter, and the students are less frustrated and overwhelmed. This is important, and I cannot lament on this enough. We need to establish systems and programs that foster community and parental involvement. Over my years as a teacher, I have realized that parents who are highly involved in their children's learning are those who exceed and do extremely well. So what can you do? What can we do as teachers to ensure that we foster strong parental ties or involvement? There's WhatsApp. We could create WhatsApp groups, send out blasts, send out messages. If you feel that notes are probably a little too much to write on the board, or you have a topic that students might or should know a little bit about, you could send out links. Now, I know sometimes parents, you might want to call a teacher 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. No. Or even 9 o'clock at night. No. So you have to respect our space. That's important. Teachers, if you feel that your personal cell phone, you don't want to take on school business because at a certain time you want to set things aside, it's okay to have another device that you could reach out to parents with, and your personal phone is your personal property, but we want to try to establish strong parental ties. Let's be honest. Teachers, this journey can be taxing. It can be overwhelming. It can be difficult sometimes, but we need to take a break. I was writing on the board yesterday and I was thinking deeply. I turned around and one little girl, she's very vocal. She said, Miss Towson, I'm too you're stressed. I said, why? She said, why your face? I laughed, yeah. I said, child, I'm just thinking deeply. And I had a little headache. And a little girl shouted in the corner, Miss, you need to just stop think. My class erupted with laughter. So you know what I did? After I was finished writing the information on the board and finished correcting the work, I said to my students, and it was a few minutes, probably about 10 minutes or so before dismissal. I said, you know what, students, let's take a little break. You're not going to be too loud. I'm going to give you a little time. The little boys went in the corner, pitched the little marbles. The girls sat aside and did the little thing. That is okay. Teachers, we are not robots. Some of us are parents, teachers, aunties, uncles, husbands, wives. There, we have different roles outside the classroom. Rest if you must. That's okay. Now I'm going to talk to the parents. And I'm going to give you a little view of what a parent said to me. She said, preparing for CPEA with my sons was very challenging. But in the end, it was rewarding. There were times when I felt exhausted trying to get my sons settled and staying focused. My personal time had to be divided with them studying, asking questions, and me trying to explain difficult topics. Now that my daughter is preparing for CPEA, the journey is same. If not, sometimes I feel as though it is more difficult. But all in all, this is a lifetime experience that I would trade for nothing. This parent was honest. She spoke about the fact that she has been frustrated, even from the start, dealing with her sons and now her daughter. And parents, I could enter into your feelings too, because sometimes you could feel overwhelmed with the amount of work the students have to do, book report, this to do, that to cover, and the exam is just around the corner. But that's what we're here for. We're here to offer you tips. Let's see how you could help your child or ward to prepare for the exam. 1. Set a schedule. A timetable is okay. You don't want to overwhelm your child. So you say Monday, you're doing science, social studies, language arts, and maths. They've been to school for the duration of almost how many hours? 6 to 7 hours. Let's have a little timetable. Tuesday, science. We are going to go over the science notes that you would have gotten throughout the day. Let's read that. We're going to set aside a little half an hour. You're going to practice a little fractions. Timetable to help them manage their time effectively. A study space. When I was studying to do my bachelor's, which was 3 years ago, I had to ensure that the place was quiet and still. A little noise was distracting. It's like if everything went out my head. How do you feel? How do you think your child or ward feels when he or she sits down to read and the TV blasting, somebody on the phone, somebody walking up and down, you chatting? Give them a little space, even if it's an hour. And you say, listen, everybody, we're going to give Lucy an hour today. Lucy, sit down here in the living room and read. Give them a space where it's conducive. Access to past papers. Practice, practice, practice. So you could find all past papers. You could go online. Smart home is here, right? Set goals for each session. This is important. Sometimes they become tired and again, they need a little reminder. Remember now you say that you want to go to X school or you say at the end of CPEA, you want to do well. Tell me which topic is giving you trouble. Possibly as a parent, you may not be able to handle fractions. You may not be able to handle present perfect tense, but you can seek assistance whenever necessary. You can communicate with the teacher. Again, I mean, as teachers, we have to create that environment. But if you know that the teacher is more competent and you're not sure, okay, so Miss, my son came home and he said that he had to do a story illustration for the story that he read. I don't really know what is a story illustration. Can you further explain it to me? So after he would have read the book at home and at school, he has to complete that. But then, mommy, you could give a little 2 cents. You know, the story illustration is about a little poem or a drawing that you have to explain. It's okay. Try to reach out to the teacher in a respectful manner. I know you could be a little frustrated, mummies and daddies, aunties and uncles, and you might want to go at the teacher, but Miss me. So if you come to a teacher with a bud looser or an AK-47, don't think she's going to come to you with a little water gun. So you have to ensure that we create an atmosphere of respect when you're communicating with the teacher. sign up your child's award for additional sessions or classes. For one, I am not an expert at mathematics. So if a child comes to me with a fraction question, I'm going to be totally honest. I really, really don't know how to do this now. So here what? I'm going and set aside a little money. At the end of the month, a teacher has to help him or her. Hey, I started to do CPEA language arts class in a small group. Now I expect parents that even if you're going to sign up your child, that you're going to sign them up for classes with 50 and 60 students, and you know that your child has a problem in this specific area. If you feel that a small group is what he or she needs, go right ahead. Make this sacrifice. Again, ask someone who is more competent in the area. There's no shame or blame in saying, I don't know. Nobody knows everything. And again, I want to say this, mommies and daddies, uncles and aunties, and whomever is listening, I don't encourage cramming. This could lead to lack of proper rest, anxiety, and stress. If you know the child has an exam before CPA coming up and you want to try to see how much information you could try to dig into the skull of the child, no, don't encourage cramming. So we're doing this over time. And I encourage independence. A lot of boys and girls have devices. They need to make use of it. So, a use of them. Encourage your child or what to conduct research on topics that they may consider difficult. YouTube is there, and I'm going to give you a list of resources that they can use. Smart Tone. Iodel would provide more information on this. Here we go. Quizzes. Now, when I started my online CPA classes, I needed to find ways and means to make learning exciting for my students. I introduced them to quizzes. And I could tell you, if a day passes and I don't give them a little game, they'll be like, Miss, what the game? Excitement. You need to make things fun. Word wall. And the famous YouTube. So I need to let you know as well that it's important to take periodic breaks. Studying for hours doesn't make the session more rewarding. It can lead to frustration and anxiety. So give them a little break sometimes. And parents, you take a little break too. Go to the beach, go for ice cream, enjoy yourself now and again. I want to leave you with this closing thought. Faith is the art of holding on to things in spite of your changing moods and circumstances. Regardless of how you feel, it's important for you to hold the faith. Faith. And I've come up with an acronym. P, persevere. R, it's okay to relax. Relax and breathe. It's okay. Avoid all forms of distractions. Remain goal-oriented. And why? Yield. I believe in God, and there are persons who believe in a higher power. Whether you believe in the universe, your religious beliefs is entirely up to you. But prayer works. So again, parents and teachers, we can do this. Our children can and will succeed, but the onus is on you, and it's totally as well on me. Take care and all the best. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Twyla, for that, for those really thoughtful insights, really valuable insights, mixed with some really fantastic storytelling there. I particularly liked, the slides on the teacher as an instructor, teacher as a coach, teacher as a team player. Very, very, one of the things I've been saying to my staff and other people is that the role of the teacher is evolving, and they're It's evolving from the more what we call didactic forms of instruction, where we dispense knowledge, to really becoming more coaches and facilitators. So I really love that she included those. I really love the teacher, the team player, fostering community with other teachers, and parental involvement, which is super important. Parents, we need your help. Your kids need your help. And I know sometimes we have a lot of parents who feel inadequate, who feel like they can't really help. But really, you can do a lot to encourage and help keep your kids focused and on track. And Twyla gave us some really good insights and advice on how to do that. All right. So we're going to switch gears, and now we're going to look at technology, at how technology can be a game changer for student preparation, can assist, can fill the gaps. At Smart Term, we believe that data and digital tools can really empower educators and parents to make informed decisions. And that is where Tambrin comes in. So to walk us through Tambrin, how Tambrin works today, I'm excited to introduce you to Seth, our sales lead at Smart Term. Seth is a co-founder as well, and he's been driving educational transformation through technology for over 10 years. He has a master's degree in physics, and he's the data guy at Smart Term. So he's always about using data-driven approaches, not only in our company internally, but also in our products. And so he's really been instrumental in scaling Smart Term to over 1,000 clients, actually. And he's leading the company's shift to really data-informed operations and products. He's been a key person in the national education technology implementations, especially in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and has extensive experience in education, including in the areas of college admissions and teaching himself. So with that said, I want you to help me welcome Seth. Over to you, Seth.
Thank you for that, Mario. And thanks again, everybody, for joining. Uh, Let me just quickly, well, I've shared my screen, so that's good. I want to very quickly pull up. There we go. Some notes that I had. Thank you for your talk, Twyla. I really enjoyed it. And I actually took notes while you were talking because, I realized that you're going to make my life easier for me. You spoke to some specific things that stood out to me, and I'm going to actually tie back to your talk and, pivot a little bit as to how I was presenting things, because I think you raised a lot of relevant and important points. As a parent myself, it resonated with me. And then I still have some flashbacks to my own time as a student. And I know that some of the things you said, they were very relevant to me as well. But today, of course, I'll be talking about our platform, Tamrin. And, I wanted to show you guys the landing page. So if you wanted to go there, you can go to tamrin.com. But I just really love this big, bold message we have here, because we're unlocking your potential. That means your child or your student, their potential with Tamrin Learning. Now, once you're here, it's pretty straightforward to log in. There's a couple different ways to get on the platform. If you're a part of Smart Term already and in our ecosystem, so you have a Smart ID account, a Smart ID for your account, then you're able to get on from there, which I'll show you. Or you can just simply click the login button. It will take you to a page here where you can log in with the details or quickly register, right? You have the option of signing in as a learner or a parent. I'm not going to go through the details of the login flow, but just very quickly, all you need to get onto the platform is your first name, last name, your parent's email address, and if you have an email address for your child, then their child's email address as well, and the country and school. Now, a couple parents have raised that maybe your country is not quite listed here, but we're very accessible. Jamie and I have shared our social media handles. Just let us know. If we missed a school, if your school is not listed, let us know. We'll get you right up and ready very quickly, and you can log into the platform. So, having created an account, I'm going to walk you through a couple different things. I'm going to show you students feel, because at the end of the day, the most important thing for us here is the kids, right? The learners and what they can do. And I'm going to kind of talk you through that. Twyla alluded to, children being nervous, especially with exams coming up with tests like CPEA. And one of the things here is that giving them a platform, it gives them a relevant and relatable environment, right? Because nowadays I have a 5-year-old, and my 5-year-old can use his phone probably better than his mom, definitely better than his grandparents, right? So it's a familiar environment for them, one that they know. And we have a lot of cool, nifty teachers in there to not just make it feel like a learning environment, but a place where they can kind of hang out and play games and things like that. And I really think that's going to help with their nerves. So for a child coming into the system, the main thing is that they can sign up for their relevant curriculum, and they have a wealth of different features that they can leverage to help enhance their learning. So they have quizzes, they have flashcards, they even have games, right? We talked about children getting excited for games, Twyla. Now they wouldn't even have to wait on you to assign them a game, right? They could come on to Tambrin. If their friends are on Tambrin or their classmates, they can quickly play games and compete with them. So I'll show that in a moment. But that's the kind of environment that we've created here, one that's curriculum aligned. It's giving them relevant insights as to what their completion is like, uh, giving it to them in a familiar environment, one where they can play games similar to like other games that they'll play, one where they have the flashcards, one where they have the quizzes that they can keep coming back to and work with. Now, the best thing is for anybody signing up to Tamron right now, you get a free trial for 7 days. All right, so you can come. We'll encourage you, take advantage of that. Log into Tamron, get on our platform, try things out. You'll start to see exactly where the relevant pieces come in. So, I believe in showing rather than telling. So I'm going to just quickly show a couple of the things, what a test could look like for a student. Here, I've created an account. It's a fresh account, so you can see that, it's nothing that I've done beforehand, but we can come in, we can start a quiz, we can get through some questions very, very quickly, right? And then you're able to, there are different question types here because, of course, once they're tested, the children can be tested on the questions with the images there. They can get tested on just purely text-based questions, whatever it is. They get a good mix and match of questions that really gets a full coverage of, whatever curriculum they've chosen to actually get their testing done for, right? So I'm not going to go through every question here, but students can cycle through the questions. They can flag questions as they need to. So let's say they get to a later question, and then they remember, oh boy, number 3, I remember. Or, there's a question that I did, but I skipped it, and I want to go back to it. Well, they can quickly navigate back to the question by just looking at the flagged ones. And then as they complete their flagged questions, they can get through, right? So students can quickly get through any kind of quiz that they want to. They hit done when they've completed it, and they're able to submit it, right? Now here I've answered one question. I left a lot blank, but the most important thing is once they have completed the question, they can see how much time it took them. So if they needed to time themselves based on, exam conditions or anything like that, they're able to do that. They can submit it, right? And they get insights here. So they see their score. They see how much time it took them to complete the test. These are things that, as a parent, you'll be able to refer back to. And as a teacher, if your student is on Tamrin, you're also able to see if you've assigned courses through the Smart Term platform. But you're able to come through, they're able to see how many questions they got correct, how many things questions they skipped, what they got incorrect. And it gets way more powerful than that. They're able to retake their quizzes as many times as they want to, so they can keep practicing, right? We talked about sort of pacing things out and not trying to cram for the exam last minute. You guys could start now, and then you have up until May, June to prepare, and your kids could come here and retake the exam, the mock exams that we have a dozen times, if they wanted to, really until it kind of drills things for them and drives home that type of question. So once they see it in the test itself, they feel great. But here's where it gets really powerful. We're data driven, right? We've taken each curriculum and we've broken them down into topics and lessons that are curriculum aligned with how the exams themselves are represented, right? So you're now able to see which topics, which lessons each child has been able to cover. You get a tally of how many questions they actually got within each component. So, there are multiple tests in there. Doing multiple tests, they get broad coverage across any subject area, and you're able to see how many they got correct. So we get some more detailed insights as well, which I'll show you in a moment. I see a question. I see some comments coming in, so I'm keeping an eye on that too. And yes, this meeting link recording will be shared. It will be on our YouTube channel afterwards as well. Right. Once the child has completed any quizzes, they can quickly see how many people have taken it and what the global average is like. So now they're measuring themselves against their peers without that social aspect where you're looking, everybody knows each other's grades or anything like that, but while still keeping those social elements there. So in the privacy of my home, I can do a quiz, I can see how I'm competing against my peers, and I can use that to pace myself and focus on areas of improvement. I can see how many times I've taken a quiz, so I'm getting a lot of insights there. Now, as a parent, you want to be able to track how your child is doing, and parents can create their accounts. Once even a child signs up to Tambrin, because they enter their parent account, you'll get quickly prompted to create your account, and you're able to see the performance of your child as they go across, right? So you'll be able to see things like how much time they've spent on quizzes, how many quizzes they've taken, the questions they've answered, and you're able to drill down even further than that. You're able to see how much coverage they got in each topic area, how many questions they've attempted, and even how many there are overall available. So for us, as a parent, like I said, that's really powerful. For us, the important thing here is, as you do, we talked about, I mean, Tyler, you alluded to doing past papers. But one of the things that I remember from my experience doing past papers is sometimes, depending on which sets of past papers you might get a lot of reinforcement of one topic, but you don't get a lot of reinforcement of other topics, right? So the important thing here is you're able to truly reinforce everything and see that you get coverage across every topic area. At the end of going through a couple iterations or a couple months of using Tamrin, well before your exam, you should have high numbers across the board. And if anywhere, you find that you're not high enough, you're able to focus on that and really hyper focus and work on those problem areas. You're able to see comparative performance across your school. You're able to see comparative performance across the national averages as well. And that's really the power of a tool like Tambrin. Right. So going back very quickly, I just wanted to show what the flashcards could look like, right? Because sometimes learning in a quizzing environment is not the best way for some students. They might want to first go over the content and really reinforce things. So you do get these flashcards. You can generate them based on a topic, or you could really filter down and see a topic and a lesson and only focus on that. It really depends on how you want to learn. And of course, you can shuffle your cards, so it's not coming in the same order. That rote sort of memorization is still there, but at the same time, you can mix and match things by shuffling and moving around. But you can see any card, you can flip it, you can use that to practice and to assess yourself. There are games here, as I mentioned, and best thing about the games is that it brings a social element, right? Sometimes just doing past papers, going over through content can be tiring, but for some children, playing a game, they could do that for hours, right? You give them a game, they start the game. I don't know if my audio got shared. I believe it might have been. There we go. So, they can play and they put in their name and they can actually create private games so they can play against their peers, or they can play against a computer, right? You come in, you start the game. I'm not going to finish the whole game just in the interest of time, but you'll see that, they're getting questions there. And to answer the questions, that's where they're able to, quickly just go across and reinforce their learning. But all they're seeing is a game that they're playing. So there's a lot of different cool things that the children can do. It allows them to really reinforce everything. And once they've completed it, they can come back and They can look at all their analytics. They can understand how they're doing. They can see their results and what kinds of answers they gave to questions, whether it was correct or not. And that will really help you as a parent or as a teacher to help and reinforce everything. Now, the final thing that I wanted to very quickly cover, you can see it gets very detailed with the level of breakdown that we have, is how teachers can play into this. Now, if you're a teacher, you have a Tambrin icon. If you're already on the Smart Term platform, you have a Tambrin icon here. If you're a student or a parent on the platform, you'll all have the icon available. Clicking that takes you over to Tambrin directly from the Smart Term platform. So you don't have to go ahead and create a new account or anything. And the beauty of it here is that teachers can now, we talked briefly about teachers being, maybe tired or not wanting to give too many assignments because it's a lot of grading and extra work. Tambrin can handle that for you. Teachers can come in very quickly. They go into their test, they choose the exam, and they can assign it to their classes, right? So they can fill out some basic information, such as due dates and things like that. They can just quickly review the questions if they need to, and they can assign this to their classrooms. By assigning it to the classroom, the students are given the prompt in Smart Term, hey, go ahead and complete this assignment. And then the teachers are able to see how the student performed. So, talking about not giving enough assignments, or even just getting that sort of detailed insight and breakdown as to a student's performance over the course of several months, you're able to get that with numbers, with, specific topics and areas that are covered on a per student basis. And we believe that's very powerful. And since parents are also on this platform, it also encourages that communication. Right now, as a parent, when I go into a parent teacher meeting for my son, right, he's only in kindergarten. But when I go in, sometimes it's a bit of a blank slate going in. Like you're going in and maybe you've just gotten the exam results, or maybe you'll get it at the meeting. And it's at that point that you have to really figure out what's going on with the child. But with a platform like this, where all the stakeholders are involved and using it, when I go in to meet the teachers, I know where my child is weak. I know they know where my child is weak, and we can work together to really make an action plan and get a lot more meaningful interactions out of things. And on that same note, it also allows for my teachers to really create targeted plans for children across the board. And when I go in, even looking at the syllabus or the curriculum, at the start of the term, sometimes what will happen is you'll see a syllabus item and say, okay, I know this. I'll give you an example from something that happened with me and my son. But the teacher said, hey, we're going to test your son on words that start with the letter P, right? So I taught my son parents. I was like, okay, you like to eat patty. Patty's a P word. Parents a P word. And then my son goes in and he gets tested on a completely different set of P words, right? And so even though I wanted to be involved, even though I was thinking about the right things, just that little gap that happened led me to not be, as confident or ready to take on something like prepping my child. But with a platform like this, where we have this curriculum aligned content, it becomes a no-brainer. I can see what the teacher is testing my child on. My child will see relevant questions, and I'm able to reinforce my own understanding of what they were tested on, and find neat ways to help them learn outside of it. So I think that's very powerful. Getting parents involved, getting teachers involved, getting all stakeholders involved. That's really what's going to drive better outcomes for students across the board, right? So we're really excited to have you on, Tambrin. There's a ton that we could also talk about, but I wanted to focus on these key elements relevant to our talk. And we look forward to you guys trying the platform and giving us some feedback as well. We're constantly evolving and getting better. We're improving. And for us, it's important to hear from parents, hear from teachers as you use the system as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys come on board. Let's do this together. Let's unlock the potential of our children together.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Seth. What an incredible demonstration of how technology, and in this case, Tambrin, can revolutionize the way students, parents, and teachers approach CPEA prep. And so thank you again, both Twyla and Seth. We're going to head into a little bit of Q&A. So guys, if you have questions, you can do one of two things. You can either post your questions in the chat and we'll cycle through them and respond to each of them in turn. Or you can raise your hands and I will ask you to open up your mic, unmute your mic, and you can ask your questions audibly. All right. But before we head into questions and answers, I have one question for both of our speakers. And so that gives you some time, guys, to get your questions ready. So this question goes to you, Twyla. You've talked about a lot of the challenges that students face. You had some bubbles showing some of the feedback that you got from students. But based on your experience, you have over 17 years of experience. What is the absolute biggest challenge students face when preparing for CPEA? And how can parents and teachers work together? We talk about community, we talk about as a team player. And how can parents and teachers work together to overcome that specific challenge?
Okay, thank you so very much, Iodel. So I'm going to answer your question. There are two major challenges. You asked me for one, but there are two that I would have observed. There are times when students come to the classroom and some are unable to read at their grade level. And then writing becomes a problem. Writing becomes a major issue. So with CPEA, for the writing portfolio, students have to produce 4 genres: expository, narrative, persuasive, and did I mention expository? Persuasive. Now, the thing is, when they come from the lower grades, writing may not be as forceful as it is when it's in grade 6, because now it's a requirement. You have to do this, especially if you want to have a good internal mark. Now that becomes frustrating for the child. And in turn, because as teachers, we are expected to get this done, it can become frustrating for us too. So parents, what can you do? It's imperative that you begin to expose your students, your children, your child or ward to various types of genres. It's okay if, as I mentioned earlier, they can read at a grade 2 level, they can read at a grade 3 level. Provide that avenue, provide that environment for them to be able to do so. The truth is, when you begin to expose your child or your children to different forms of writing, or reading pieces, then writing becomes a bit easier. They begin to imagine things, they begin to see things in a different light. So parents, you can do your part as well. As I said, expose them to different forms of books, different types of materials, and that would help greatly in their reading and their writing development.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that, Twyla. And I love what you talked about there. And at Smart Term, as we hear a lot about these challenges, we spring into action in terms of trying to solve them. So this year, a big theme on our roadmap is those collaborative features that really help to unlock parent and teacher partnerships, because we believe, as a matter of fact, it's not even a belief, the 3 factors that affect student performance or student success is teacher quality, is student intrinsic motivation, and parental involvement. And so you've mentioned those quite a bit in your presentation. So some of the features that are coming down the pipeline are things like messaging, right? Just to be able, so teachers don't have to share their personal numbers and they can just close their laptops so they don't receive any messages too early or too late. We really want to really drive that messaging component to really simplify that communication between parent and teacher. One of the other things we're doing as well, which I'm very excited about, I think today we had a meeting in terms of looking at our roadmap, and it's due for Q3, is the whole notion of AI grading assistant for teachers. I'm so excited about that because I was a teacher, and I can tell you sometimes, a confession here, sometimes I really want to give these students tests, but knowing I have to go and grade another 80 papers, I'm like, you know what I mean? So one of the things that the AI grading assistant is going to help to do is, first of all, it's going to help teachers grade essays and provide detailed, personalized feedback for students. Of course, it's going to allow teachers to review each of those things as a quality assessment component, but it's really going to reduce the amount of time teachers have to spend grading so that we can test more often and provide quality feedback for our students. It's really important for us to be able to test often to kind of, identify that zone of proximal development for the teachers who are trained in the house. You may have heard about Lev Vygotsky's theory there, but really to find where we can help students, learn best. Right. So Seth, I have a question for you, and it's really about, so, we all know that students, each student is different. Every student is unique. They have different learning styles, the concepts of multiple intelligences and so forth. A criticism of our education system is that it's a one size fit all, and sometimes the way that teachers deliver instruction in the class may not meet everyone. And teachers are so overwhelmed. They really want to because they love teaching, but it's really overwhelming to reach every student. So what I wanted to understand from you is how Tambrin can really help personalize the experience for each child, targeting each of those learning preferences and learning styles, and also what's coming down the pipeline and to really enhance that experience.
Great question. Yeah, so this is something that we spend a lot of our time thinking about. We talk to teachers, we look at what our own experiences tell us, and then we also try and understand, how the landscape is evolving. So, as I mentioned when I was talking through the platform, there's that traditional formats of having quizzes and past papers that allow you to, really go through and cycle through assignments and cover it. But then there's also the games. The games provide you a more visual stimulation, right? Working down our pipeline, well, there's also the flashcards. So some people, they might not want to go through and do an assignment in a time setting, but instead they just want the flashcards to read while they're going through. They have access to that as well. And there are also, I didn't show it today, but there are also challenges that we might do. So give it a bit more of a social sort of group community aspect there, where you can sign up for a challenge. You're representing maybe a school or maybe a country, and you're working on whatever the challenge might be. It could be an essay competition, or it could be a timed quiz, or it could be something like even other games that help enhance cognitive ability in students, like having chess tournaments and things like that. So our roadmap includes tapping every aspect of that kind of development for children. Right now, we facilitate images, we facilitate assessments that allow you to really customize your learning plan. But we're going to take it up a notch. You alluded to the artificial intelligence before, and my vision long term for Smart Term is that you sign into Smart Term, you see your own personalized AI tutor, right? That has your learning needs. It's something that's appealing to you as well. So if you're into, I don't know, cartoon characters, then you see a cartoon character you like. But if you're into like something a little different, like maybe like Barbie or something like that, it's something that's relevant to you. A tutor that feels like your own, somebody maybe that you look up to. Of course, at the end of the day, it could also just be our Tambrin head if you don't want to, customize it to that level. And that tutor is looking at your strengths and weaknesses. That tutor is working on, the areas that you need to reinforce. They're giving you a personalized lesson plan. So each child is not just coming in and doing, the same sort of generic assignment, but they're actually following learning paths that help to build on and enhance their journey as a learner in a way that's relevant to them. If a student learns more from content, whether it's video content or other like audio content, like listening to things over and over, then they're gonna get more of that type of content. But if you're the type of student who, games is really how you learn, then you're gonna get a lot of games to play. And it's gonna be specialized where each student's experience on Tambrin will be completely unique to them and it will only develop and grow over time. Now, other tools that we're adding are going to take it even another level, right? So I'm talking about tools such as you get all your slides or your class notes from your teacher and you can pass it through our AI tools and they'll summarize that and create plans for you, create relevant assignments for you based on the content you're passing in. Imagine you have a textbook to study and you're passing the textbook in as a PDF and you're getting assignments on all the content covered in the textbook. So you know that you get full coverage of every topic in there. That's the level that, we're thinking that's where we want to go to. And it's generating not just questions for you, it's generating flashcards, it's generating study notes, it's giving you an explainer video, it's giving you personalized tutoring, and it's not just the start where it does it. It's evolving because maybe initially you get lucky and you get a couple fractions questions right, and then over time the gaps start to show up. It's dynamically evolving as you do more and more questions, as you get more and more coverage, right? The idea is there will ultimately be more content than you can cover, and so you'll always have something to do, right? And that's the vision here, is to really unlock your potential. I'm very excited about this. I could talk about this for hours, so I'll keep it to that for now.
Clearly, clearly. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you, thank you. Clearly, there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to Tambrin and Smart Term. Okay, guys, I want to open up for questions at this point. Jamie, do we have any questions in the chat? If you want to speak, guys, you can raise your hand.
Yeah, the first question here I'm seeing somebody's asking if Tambrin is free.
Yeah, Tambrin is free to start. As Seth said during his presentation, there's a 7-day free trial. So for 7 days, you have access to the entire site with all the premium tools. And after that 7 days, you have the option of upgrading to keep the access to all the premium tools. But if you don't, then you are then put into the free tier, so you'd only be able to answer some questions, play a few games, etc., but you still have access to the site, and so it is free to start. Yes.
I see another question about schools not being on the list. If your school is not on the list, as I said, we have shared our social media here, and of course you can drop the name of the school in here too, so I can make a note if you meant for a specific school. But for anybody watching this later, if your school's not in the list, reach us through our social media channels. We're all ears. We're always ready to hear people out, and we're constantly making changes and improving the system, and that includes adding any missing skills.
Yeah. All right. Someone had their hands raised. I think they took it down. I think it's Kern.
It was the same question, I think.
It was the same question. Oh, okay.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Good
Yeah.
evening.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for this very informative session. I believe Mohammed answered part of the question. I was just about to type in the name of the school because we are listening in from St. Lucia. And, so the question is, if I want to use Smart Term and my school isn't on the list, that was the question that I had.
Okay. Yeah.
How do I access, or how can it be added?
Okay. Yeah. So yes, I believe Seth responded to that. Just reach out to us And I think there's a chat, a contact page on the Tambrin website, so you can reach out to us and let us know. But our intention is to add all these schools, private and public, in all the CPEA countries. So that includes St. Lucia as well. So if your school is not there, you can leave it here now so that we can add it as soon as we come off the call. But if it isn't, you can reach out to us online. All right. That's interesting.
Thank you.
All right, no problem, no problem. You're welcome. I see Jamie's adding our LinkedIn. So guys, if you want to connect with us after the call as well, feel free to jump on LinkedIn and connect with us. Jamie, could you also share our social media pages so that we can persons can like, subscribe, follow, whatever the platform call to action is. Okay, excellent. Okay, I see a question here. What is the cost after the free trial and how is payment made? Is it down to the school or the parents' own individual payment method? Very good question. The cost after the free trial is $20 per month for all four of the subjects. So that's math, language, social studies, and science. So it's $20 a month US for all of these subjects. And it's your own individual payment method. We toyed with the idea of allowing parents to bring in monies to these schools, but we haven't kind of actioned that or taken it any further. But right now, it's every parent. You have your own card that you would put into the system, and it would be charged individually and not as a group. Okay, thank you for those schools. All right. Yes, I see someone saying this is an excellent presentation. Wish I had learned about Tambrin earlier the academic year. Yes, that is true. For September, we will be making a big push because one of the things we want to do as well is to, on top of test prep, we also want to provide learning experiences so that teachers can use it throughout the year and so forth. Then there's a lot coming. You'll hear more about it as time progresses. Someone here is asking, is there a way to pay for more than a month? I'm afraid not at this time. I'm afraid not at this time. Not at this time. Not at this time, I'm afraid. Is there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Oh, can one account work for more than one child in a household, or is separate accounts needed? Separate accounts are needed. So you can create one account for the parent, and then one of the screens that Seth showed showed that you can add each individual child. So even if that child is your child or not, let's say it's a neighbor and maybe their parents don't have a card, but you want them to be able to access it, you can create that child under your account, right? But the charge will be separate. So each child that's on the platform will be $20 per month, all right? But you can create a single parent account. And as a matter of fact, you can add as many accounts under there as you want to, all right? And one of the things that I've seen parents do as well is that they're signing up their fourth grade and fifth grade children. So it's not only even sixth grade. I see some people trying to get way ahead, and I smiled when I see it. People in grade 4 and grade 5 are signing up as well. Okay. Yes, $20 per month for all the subjects. Okay, that is correct. Yes, so question here, why this program came so late when there's CPEA around the corner? We had a few challenges early on, and so this year we kind of launched it a bit late. We just want to make sure that we went through all the quality checks to ensure that the questions are correct and we have all the images, all the stimuli in place, and that took a little bit longer and than we really wanted to. So I apologize for it coming this late, but we are committed to promoting it early in August and September this year for next school year. Someone asked, is it in Beckwith? It's everywhere CPEA is being offered. So once you have access to internet and you have a device, you can sign up and join. Okay. We have, I just saw Kern, you just put your hand down as well.
Yeah, I'm back. Another observation for the Tambrin website, the app. When you register as a student, if your school isn't there, you can't register. Because I tried registering my daughter, but
Okay.
because her school is not there, I think you can do it as a parent, but as a learner, no.
Yeah, that is correct. And so we've taken a note of the schools. I think you already put the school's name in the chat. And directly after this, well, let's say by tomorrow morning, because I'm not sure if we can add it right this minute. But by tomorrow morning, all of these schools that were put in the chat will be added. And then you can add your children.
Thank you. I did add the school earlier.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you
Thank
can
you.
check that tomorrow.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you.
All right, so I have a question here. Okay, I see Juliet's hand is up. Juliet, you can go ahead. Okay, Juliet, you disappeared for me. Are you still here? Okay. I see a few
There's
more
some questions in
here.
chat.
What is the difference between the free trial and the full pay? Nothing. Right? You get access to everything in the free trial as a fully paid account. So you get the opportunity to use the full platform. It's only when the trial expires that you are downgraded to a free account where you won't have access to all the games or all the assessments and so forth. But you will still have access to the site. Yeah, if you have a parent account, yeah, the parent account is only for you to be able to track the progress of your child. Sorry, this question says, if a parent account is created, do you still have to pay to add a child? Right? So the parent account is free, but when you need to add the child, it's initially free as well. So you can add your children, all of them if you want to, and they can use it for the first 7 year completely free. Right? But when that trial for that child account expires, you will need to pay to retain full access to the system. I see Osleen Felix says, I have tried it, didn't work. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You may have to give a little bit more or reach out to us. And Jamie, can you please provide an email for persons if they want to reach out to us directly as well after the call?
Hello?
Hello, sorry, Juliet. Okay, you're here again?
Yes, please. I
Okay.
just tune in. So I'm just trying to connect, right? But what I've gathered so far, do you have to register individually or you have to register as an institution? That's question number one. Question number two, is the smart term linked or in sync with the curriculum? Each subject area linked with the CPEA curriculum?
Yeah, excellent questions. So the answer to your first question is, sorry, I forgot the question. The first question was,
Register as an institution or individual.
no, you can
So
register, you can only register at this time as an individual. One of the things that we did have, and you can reach out to us, Jamie put our email there, info@smartterm.io. One of the things we did do is provided discounts if the entire class came in as a group, right? We did have that promotion a couple weeks ago, and a couple schools came on. If you would like that for your school, please let us know. That promotion was 50% off. And so if you reach out to us and you have a class of students who want to join, we'll provide you with the actual code to actually get a discount on the price. So feel free to reach out to us at info@smartterm.io. All right. Did anyone else have their hands raised? Someone said here, some images in the free version of the test prep failed to load. Does this also happen in the paid version? No. And if you see an image fail to load, whether it's free or in the paid version, please reach out to us. It's probably an oversight, and we just need to fix it, regardless of whether it's free or paid. All images should show. Okay. Oh, because the school wasn't there. Okay, no problem. We'll be adding the school. So if your school is not there now and you've added it here, check back for it tomorrow, and you should be able to go ahead.
It
Okay.
is curriculum aligned. Yeah.
Oh, yes. The next question, yes, was whether it's curriculum aligned. Yes, it's fully curriculum aligned with the CPEA curriculum. All right. My school is a part of Smart Term, but I do not remember my information. All right. Feel free to reach out to us. All right. The email is there. Jimmy, it may, as we're adding all these questions, it may be useful to add the email again, so persons don't have to scroll all the way up to see it. Yes. Next question. Right. So regarding the curriculum, I answered that. Yes, it's curriculum aligned, fully curriculum aligned, right down to the subtopics. Is Seventh-day Adventist, sorry, Parma School, all schools in St. Vincent. St. Vincent is in a happy place. Once you have your Smart Term account, you can simply just go to the top and click the Tambrin icon, and you'll just go straight into Tambrin. So you don't even need to sign up because you already have a Smart Term account. As a matter of fact, if you have a Smart Term account and you go to the website, which is outside of your school, you can still sign up with your Smart Term account. And you don't have to create new passwords and so forth. So once you have a Smart Term account, you can access it without needing to sign up.
Vortex asked if more than one child can be added to the parent account. And the answer is yes. You can have more than one child, as many as you need. If you have triplets, so they're in the same year, that's fine. And if you have 3 kids that are 5 years apart each, that's fine, right? So,
yeah.
No
And
restrictions.
they even have to be your kids, right? If you're trying to help out a neighbor, or maybe, another kid, wants to be on your account for one reason or the next, or maybe you have a nephew or niece who you want to sign up, you can go ahead and sign up children under your account. Okay. Someone said, if you sign up for the free trial and the school isn't there, does the trial start after the school is added? Currently, the trial doesn't even start if the school isn't there, because once you try to create your student account, it won't allow you to go past that stage. So if your school isn't there, feel free to reach out to us. Okay. And we'll do a full sweep again of all these CPEA countries, which I think includes St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Grenada, Anguilla, I think, and Saba, I think, and there are about 6 countries that do. Dominica, I think. No, Dominica doesn't do CPEA, but all these CPEA countries will do a full sweep to make sure all of those public and private schools are there. All right. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I usually do CPEA online classes, and I heard you said previously that there was an offer. How soon will this offer be coming back on board, so at least I can introduce my parents as well to this? And as a CPEA teacher who teach online, I see the benefits as well, and I would love to tap into Tambrin, but I want my students to benefit. So when are we going to be able to get a discounted code,
We'll
especially
talk about that
persons who want to
afterwards, Twyla.
sign on?
Twyla, you're good, Twyla. You're good. Once you reach out to us, you're good. You're good. We'll
All
sort you.
right.
We'll sort you out. So just reach out to us.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Okay. I think that brings us to the end of our webinar. We went over just a little bit, But thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. I want to say a special thank you to Twyla and Seth for excellent, presentations tonight that really kept you guys engaged. Thank you for all the questions. We've added our socials in the chat, so feel free to stay in the community to keep informed. If you want to connect with us, feel free also to our LinkedIn profiles are there, so you can go on LinkedIn and add us as well. And with that said, thank you guys so much. Look forward to continue working with all of you to build education and to really unlock the potential of our students across the region. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.